The Zeekr 7X is the newest entry into the mid-size electric SUV market, the most crowded and competitive EV segment in the world. This car boasts some insane specs when it comes to charge speed, when it comes to battery pack size, when it comes to performance and features. But today's question, are those insane specs and features enough to make this the new benchmark? That is what we're going to answer in today's video. I think the 7X is an interesting looking car, but I also think its distinct front fascia does disappear when optioned in a darker paint, like this green metallic color, which is something I usually like. It has classical SUV proportions and a much more rounded look than anything else I've seen lately. The rear light design is my favorite part, but again, that also disappears in a darker paint. This all-wheel drive privilege model comes standard with these electric doors, which to close, you put your foot on the brake pedal and the door closes. This is my least favorite feature of this car, and you can deactivate them if you go into a menu, but there's still a servo motor on the door, so you're going to still have that noise and that resistance. So even when you deactivate it, it doesn't work like a normal door. I mean, they work fine, they're gimmick, but I think this would be a better car with just normal doors because, yeah, they're not always that precise. They don't always open up all the way. And half of the time, it's just cumbersome to use. And I've had, a few passengers during my test week with this car, and they're like, what the heck is this? So not a fan favorite and not a passenger favorite and not one of my favorite things. But with that being said, this is a very impressive interior in more than one way. So first off, it is very spacious. I mean, there's a lot of room lengthwise. The rear seats, as you're going to see later, is very roomy, and also the cabin is very wide. But that means also a wide exterior, and this may be too wide for a lot of people. The benefit is you're going to get a lot of interior room, and it just feels very spacious, very practical. You have, bins in the doors. You have large door bins down there. You have large armrest. You have storage under here. You have a wide console, but maybe the most impressive thing about this interior is the quality. So this has, the optional Napa leather on the seats, but on the dashboard and on the doors, you're gonna get stitched faux leather. You're gonna get, this wetsuit type of material, and even down low in the cabins, you're gonna have this material, which is double stitched, and it just looks expensive. And also the switchgear, like the buttons here, just feel nice. There's a volume toggle there, window switches, and also the switchgear feels really, really nice. And also this car has some beautiful ambient lighting with this glass effect here. It's just a very nice place to spend time. And this has the Zeekr branded sound system, which is impressive. You have this beautiful tweeter on top of the dashboard. You have these beautiful speaker grills in aluminum. So overall, this is a very, very nice interior for this price point, and it feels a class or two above compared to anything else that comes even close to costing as much as this. So these rear doors open up almost 90 degrees, which is great if you have children, if you have, a baby seat here, or you're just gonna use this car to shuttle people, because it is extremely nice in that regard. And also the seat back here is reclinable. And to close this door, you have to press the button there. If you have kids here and it's too far to reach, you can actually set how far the door closes. There's also blinds here in the rear, if we can close them. There we go. So you pull on the window switch when the window's closed, and then you have automatic blinds. You have a beautiful coat hanger here, beautiful materials, and look how much legroom there is in this car. I'm looking at you Audi Q6 e-tron, which is bigger and longer than this car, but this has so much more leg room. I'm sat behind myself. I'm 5'11", 180 centimeters, and it is so spacious. I had a passenger. He's about 187, so 6'1", 6'2", and he was like, my God, there's so much room in the rear. Also, beautiful armrest here with this, beautiful leather on top here, and with storage there. It's just a really nice place to spend time. Beautiful, stitching on the seat back. You have this material here. It's just a really nice place to spend time, and also I can slide my feet under the front seat. This is just one of the best rear seats in an electric SUV I've seen in a long time. It is very, very impressive. And even in the middle, the seat cushion is actually quite comfortable. The seat back, though, a little bit hard, but you still have plenty of leg room and plenty of headroom. It is one of the best rear seats. So this, as a people carrier, yeah, this has to be one of the best electric cars this size. The 7X has this proximity key, which also has physical buttons, and this key has actually worked completely fine, been flawless, and yeah, so not a problem at all. And I also like the size of it, though. When it's dark, when you want to lock and unlock the car, of course you can use the proximity sensor, but if you want to do that, it's pretty hard to see which buttons are which, because there's no tactile feel to which button is which. So, like in every car that is released in Europe after June 2024, you have GSR2, which mandates that safety systems like lane keep assist, driver monitoring systems, and also speed limit warning have to turn on every time you do a key off, key on cycle, even though you turn the system off. And that means every time you get into the car, if these are systems you don't like me, you have to turn them off. So there's a drop-down menu here, which for the most part is very responsive, but I've stepped into the car a few times and this doesn't want to drop down immediately. So you have distraction alert. Oh, there it goes away. Okay, so let's do that again. It's like there, it's not responsive. What is going on here? There we go. Very, very weird. So distraction alert, fatigue alert, and overspeed, and lane keep assist when distraction alert go off. But the thing is, this car also has a few other safety systems. Lane departure warning, which is very, very sensitive, and I like to get close to the lines because that's how I was taught to drive. Like placement within the road to signal to drivers not only behind you, but to drivers behind there when you're going to the left or going to the right. Even when you're signaling, like placement of the car is very important communication. And I like to sometimes just get really close to the line, and sometimes right on the line, because here in Europe we have narrow streets and narrow roads, and this is a very wide car and it is very sensitive, so I like to turn that off. And also forward collision warning is super, super sensitive. Like, it's been driving me crazy when I haven't even been close to driving. I drive this car in full one pedal drive, and even with one full pedal drive on and you're going off the throttle, I think the car thinks you're not braking, even though the car is braking, and it's just super, super aggressive. So not my favorite thing. So there are a lot of things to turn off here. I wish that those two extra things, I didn't have to go into the menu, that there was a drop down, but that may come in the future in those shortcuts. So to put the car into drive, you have the gear selector there, and this car has full one pedal drive, and then you're off. The calibration of the full one pedal drive has been very inconsistent. Sometimes it is aggressive, other times it's not. I think in its most aggressive setting, it's not aggressive enough, but sometimes it is. So it's inconsistent, and there is a lot of room for improvement. So this car, first off, I've just been driving this car in comfort mode, and it is a very comfortable car. I'm gonna say superbly comfortable. This car is on 21-inch wheels, and it is one of the best calibrated air suspensions in an electric SUV. It is very, very impressive, this calibration of this suspension, because It is super comfortable, very soft, and more on the wafty side, like you'd find in a Mercedes EQS SUV. I'd say this is as comfortable as that, but without the extreme floatiness, the extreme boatiness. This is still very nicely controlled, and you can still drive this car fast, and it's not going to feel scary like the EQS SUV when you're passing cars on a country road and it gets twisty and turny and bumpy. That car is a little bit scary in my opinion. That may be down to this not having nearly as much mass as that car, but I'm going to say this is one of the most comfortable cars I've driven. And also the steering is superbly tuned. I mean, there's even feel in this steering. It is just very, very impressive the way this car drives. Also relatively quiet. In my instrumented testing, which I did in my range test, which I'm going to link down below, and you can also see how far this can go, on a full charge of battery at 120 kilometers an hour in the real world. Very good range, but it is just really nice to drive this car. Precise steering, weights up nicely, and is also gives you proper feedback. So that is very, very impressive. You can feel the road texture. Is just very good to drive. So on this stretch of road where the bumps come quicker, badly tuned cars and badly calibrated cars, you're gonna feel the suspension doing more than one motion. Here it is for the most part one motion, but there's like a secondary softer motion that is due to this being tuned the way because of the air suspension. But that second motion is so soft, it doesn't feel bouncy. It just feels like it's doing that to just be a little bit more wafty, which is something I like in a car with air suspension. It just gives that extra touch of luxury, giving the little bit of like a softer motion, and also that smaller secondary motion. But that also means the car's not going to be as connected and feel as planted to drive as other cars, but that is a trade-off. You can put the car into sport mode. There's a mode button here, but it's only toggled to the throttle calibration, so you have to go in here, and then you have to go into driving, and then up here, and then you can go into suspension mode or dampening mode, and then you can go into standard, or you can go into sport. And when you go into sport, it is a lot stiffer, but also a lot more body control. I wouldn't drive the car in this mode unless I'm going on a twisty road, but I still think the character of this car is just it's just very comfortable. So I like the car in comfort mode and dampening, and it is just a really nicely driving car. It is very, very impressive. Is it better than the Enyaq with its adaptive dampers? I think it is very close. I think you're getting more of that luxury, that waftiness here, but also that Enyaq with that adaptive suspension manages to be both planted, have amazing body control, and also very comfortable at the same time. But I think this is very, very close, and either way it is a very impressively driving car. Like all of the Zeekr 7X's competitors, this car is compromised, and you are going to have to make a compromise depending on what car you choose, because you can't have everything at this price point. You're going to have to choose what you like, what you want, and what you don't like. You're going to have to choose what is important for you. But in my opinion, as this car sits at the moment, at least here in Norway, where they have very aggressive deals, this is an extremely interesting purchase, because this all-wheel drive, top-of-the-line privilege model cost the same, at least in the configurator, as a Skoda Enyaq RS. And I think compared to that car, this is a lot better in a lot of ways. Other places, I don't think it is better. I still think, the infotainment system, the ergonomics, the user experience in that Enyaq is superior. And also it has better efficiency, though slower charging. It is smaller on the inside and on the outside, but that may be a positive or negative depending on what you're looking at. But this, with its air suspension, with a lot of its advanced tech, with the comfort, the interior space, the battery pack size, and its performance, is very, very appealing. But I don't think Zeekr can sell this car at this price point forever. As I said, this is a campaign they have at least here in Norway for the next 3 or 4 months. Because if you look at this car's corporate cousin, the Volvo EX90, which is a bigger car with a bigger battery, but you're getting a lot of the same things here. You're getting much of the same comfort and luxuries as that car at half the price almost at this point in time. And because of internal politics in Geely and how the brands are structured, I don't think you're going to get that car for this cheap forever. And also, Volvo are going to launch an EX60, which is going to be the same size as this, maybe even built on the same platform. We don't know yet. Rumors are it will be built on a different platform, but it may share a lot of the specs here and a lot of features. And it goes without saying, Volvo and Zeekr can't have a very similar car at very different price points. That's just not gonna work. And also, in my opinion, if you go to a Skoda dealer, I think you can get at least 4,000 or 5,000 off the price, meaning that in reality, that Enyaq is still gonna be cheaper. But if you want a bigger, more cushy, softer, more luxurious experience than the Enyaq, and you can pay a little bit more, and you don't need that efficiency, and you also don't care that much about having, the perfect interior ergonomics, I think this is a very interesting and appealing choice that I absolutely can recommend. So guys, let me know what you think of the new Zeekr 7X in the comment section down below. I think this is very close to being the new benchmark, and in a lot of ways it is, but because it is still a niche brand and not available for sale everywhere in Europe, yeah, it's really hard to measure. But I can at least recommend it. Yeah, I can at least recommend this car to you guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.